you, and it just started to come over the bridge right where University Avenue on-ramp comes in. Yeah. And about, 100 yards after that, we were in rush hour traffic just sitting there and talking about work, and I heard this loud bang, the loudest noise I've ever heard, and then we just looked ahead, and the bridge started to collapse right there, and my buddy I was a passenger, and my friend had a quick reflex and jumped out quick and was actually on the bridge when it fell back, the portion that fell next to the Meadow-Matic place.
That would be on the northbound side of downtown Minneapolis. You were traveling south toward the city?
Yeah, we're traveling south toward the city, right past University.
And so what happened to you and your friend who were in the vehicle, and what happened to the vehicle?
Well, the two cars ahead of us just stayed. We happened to be lucky enough to be in the only section that was, pretty much level, and then the front and back fell, and we slid on the back side and slid down onto the ground.
You slid onto the ground from the bridge. How far would you estimate that fall was?
Probably about 60 yards.
And
yeah.
And was your vehicle destroyed in this, or is it still has it been pulled up, or?
Nothing's been pulled up at the site. We're all people there's cars that are the only cars on the southbound side before the ones that went off the bridge. I saw it's the craziest thing I've seen. The Washington exit sign go from standing up to just straight down, and it seemed like slow motion. And I just didn't even. I thought it was just a dream mode as soon as that happened, and that's when my buddy panicked and jumped out of the car, and then I slid back with the car.
Thank you very much for your eyewitness account of things, and I assume that you and your friend are safe and sound, and just stopped just short of that. I understand we have a couple of other Minnesota Public Radio reporters on the line right now.
There's a lot of
Arch Bridge. And Dan, good evening, and tell us what you're seeing there from the Stone Arch Bridge. You must have a very good view of things.
Tom, the collapsed I35 north-south span is one bridge away from me. I'm on the Stone Arch Bridge mid-span. The next bridge downriver, as you already have heard, is the 10th Avenue Bridge, which is now closed to all traffic.
Right.
And then just beyond that is the down span. Tom, what we have in front of us is a group of emergency vehicles very nearly filling the 10th Avenue Bridge. We have emergency flotilla there in the river below the 10th Avenue Bridge. We have a large military helicopter that just seconds ago came in, made a very large circle, and cleared out the 5 news helicopters television that are watching this, and made a big circle, and for a time, seconds ago, hovered over and has just moved off. Already you've understood from your eyewitnesses that this is just the span that collapsed, 35W north and south, is just downriver from the Guthrie Theater on the west bank. The University of Minnesota is right next to it on the east bank. Right. We have about 2,000 or so people here on the Stone Arch Bridge simply standing, looking, watching, and we have had 2 emergency vehicles traverse this Stone Arch Bridge, which, as you know, is closed to vehicular traffic and is pedestrian and bike traffic only. The streets in downtown Minneapolis, Tom, are chaotic. I just turned around now, and I'm looking upriver at the Hennepin at the 3rd Avenue Bridge, which is very nearly stopped, dead. And just beyond that, the Hennepin Avenue Bridge, the suspension bridge, is mostly free-flowing. The downtown streets are now nearly choked with emergency vehicles. There goes the transit police SUV headed the other direction here on the Stone Arch Bridge.
Right, I understand there are a lot of official emergency vehicles from all over the Twin Cities Metro who have responded to this, but it must be just to look and see where that bridge used to be and not see that great span there must be just a surreal sight.
But again, it's just a very difficult situation you can imagine. Here, onlookers are just passing by me in front of me on bikes and on foot, as are all of us trying to make sense of this and figure out what has happened. As you know, Tom, you've been told already, I'm sure, that this span, 35 I-35W was undergoing repair.
Undergoing repair, yeah.
From the Minnesota Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure this will all be a factor in the ensuing investigation.
Yeah, we are told that there'll be a further statement from MnDOT. Elizabeth Sawicki reached someone at MnDOT earlier, and they didn't have all that much in the way of information, but when we hear more from them, we will bring it to you. Dan Olson, thank you very much, and I appreciate your reporting for this tonight. We're going to get an update now here on Just. If you're tuning into Minnesota Public Radio News and you're listening and wondering what's going on, and we'll try to give you an update of what we know. Here's one of the things that we have just heard, and apparently WCCO, one of the reporters, has confirmed that there has been at least one death now in this bridge collapse.
Right, Tom, at least one death. It's unconfirmed by officials at this point. It's a media report.
Right.
But we do know that this happened about 6 o'clock tonight. The entire span of the bridge, Interstate 35W, over the Mississippi River, collapsed. We know that it was rush hour traffic. Traffic was very heavy. We know that several vehicles went down into the river.
MnDOT says perhaps as many as 50, although they can't confirm that number of vehicles were actually on the span at the time. Seems to me that that's fairly light for that time of night.
We know that there was at least one school bus, and we just heard from a witness who said that the kids on that school bus were from 5 to 15 years old, that as far as he knew, they were able to get off the bus. They were not injured, but he did say that a teacher was injured.
Right.
And we know that that school bus was from a community school in South Minneapolis.
Right.
We know that there are dozens of cars involved in this. We know that many of the injured have been taken to Hennepin County Medical Center, but we have not received word from there how many are injured or the extent of the injuries. But certainly lots of questions that remain to be answered. The primary question is, why did this happen? Bridges do not fall down.
Right.
We know that there was construction of some sort going on. Sounded like resurfacing, and
resurfacing is one of the reports,
working on some of the ice melting capability on the bridge.
Yeah, right.
And but why that would cause this to happen, just a big question mark at this point.
Right. We expect to hear from MnDOT. We're told there will be further information from MnDOT as well. The pictures have been dramatic. People stranded on parts of the bridge that aren't completely in the water. And it looked earlier as if part of the road surface was actually either suspended between the two riverbanks or floating on the river with boats. As Dan Olson described, a flotilla of rescue boats getting people off and out of their vehicles, and presumably so.
And Tom, we do know that the Homeland Security Department has said that they've had no indication that this has anything to do with terrorism. They said they are monitoring the situation, but at this point, nothing to indicate this has anything to do with terrorism.